What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How we doing tonight? Yeah, we're starting a little late than normal. As you see, I got my guy Rich to my screen left, but right looking at. I don't know left totally. What's up, buddy?
Stage right. What's going on, man?
Nothing.
Happy trade deadline day.
Right. I'm sure that was the main focus all day long. Um,
Depends
yeah.
depends how much of a degenerate sports guy you are.
You know, this this might be in the trade deadline day, but I feel baseball, hockey, basketball are just bigger at the trade deadline than football.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there were a lot more moves. I mean, we've had trade deadlines in the NFL where there were no moves. I mean, in last like several years. I'm trying to remember what year it was. There were no moves, none. Not even like a kicker for a seventh round pick. Nothing. Um, so I wouldn't necessarily say the NFL trade deadline is a big deal. This year it was. Um, some teams I think definitely improved themselves. I think the Redskins made a real nice move. I think Baltimore made a real nice move. I think the Steelers made real nice moves, and we'll talk a lot about the Steelers moves tomorrow night during our Steel City chat program. But um, you know, I'm with you though. I mean, it seems like the MLB trade deadline, especially, is the big one. You hear a little bit about the NHL, you hear a little bit about the NBA. You may have five or six substantial moves in the NBA, but most of the time it's like, we're trading this guy from the G League for that guy that's the water boy's assistant, and we're that fourth round pick or whatever. Nothing major.
Speaking of cleaning house, the Raiders cleaned a little house over the weekend.
They did, and they made an addition today too. Did you see this?
No.
Norv Turner was brought on as a special consultant to the offense. A name we haven't heard in quite a while. A very successful, the offensive coordinator, of course, of the Cowboys teams that went to 3 Super Bowls in 4 years in the mid '90s. Former head coach of the Washington Redskins when they were the Redskins. Yeah, I mean, Norv Turner is, he's a name. Now, is he going to make that much of a difference with that team? I don't know. I'm really surprised that the Raiders didn't make a deal for a quarterback. I really am. I'm surprised Bryce Young is still in Carolina. Uh, Honestly, this is going to sound really weird. I'm surprised that Trey Lance is still in Dallas.
Where did you want them to end up? I don't know why. Yeah, Cooper. Yeah, Cooper Rush is starting this weekend, huh? Yeah.
As far as I know, yeah, but man, I'll tell you what, I was listening, and I'm not. This is not original thinking, even though I've thought the same thing. I would start Trey Lance this week because see what he's got, and if he has anything, people already know what Cooper Rush has got. Dak's supposed to go on the IL or IR, excuse me, for 4 weeks with this hamstring. Give Lance at least this week, maybe next week. See how he performs. Uh, the Cowboys are going to lose. I honestly only see them winning 3 more games the rest of the season, at best, maybe 4. Um, they've got a tough schedule, tough sledding the rest of the way. In fact, let me pull this up because I was looking at it earlier today when I knew we were going to be talking about this, and you got the Eagles this Sunday, should be an L. The Texans next Sunday at the Commanders. That should be 3 L's right there. Giants on Thanksgiving. Then you got the Bengals in Dallas. At Carolina, that should be a W. Tampa at home, at Philly, and then Washington at home.
That
With the way
sounds like
they've been playing, do you see any more than 3 wins there?
um sounds like um sounds like the Steelers back half of the schedule. I know it sounds pretty rough.
Yeah, they got to run. Um,
Um,
it is funny the way the Steelers' schedule kind of adjusted itself over the course of the season because we weren't planning on it getting tough until after this week's game. Well, Washington is better than advertised. This week is not going to be easy, and the rest of the way ain't going to be easy. You know, I still say they need to go 4-5 at worst in these last 9. 4-5 puts them at 10-7. I think that gets them in. But I'm telling you what, man, I don't. Yes, they added Tre'Davious White today. The Baltimore Ravens did. I don't. This is not your dad's Baltimore Ravens defense. This is not 2019. This is not 2000 by any stretch. You look at the rankings for the Ravens in all aspects of the defense, they're 20th or worse in everything. Can they put points on the board? Yep, they sure can. But they're sure as heck giving up a ton too. So, the Steelers might be able to split that. If they split with the division, that's 3-3. Then they got to beat either Philly, KC, Washington, or yeah, Philly, KC, Washington. Oh, come on, Rich. Philly, KC, Washington.
That's it.
No. I'm missing one. No, I'm not missing one. That's right. They got to win at least one of those 3, though. And I don't know. I still think they can beat Kansas City Christmas Day. Everybody thinks I'm nuts. I still think they can beat Kansas City Christmas Day.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Seems like Mahomes is finding a little connection with D-Hop over there. Obviously, that's opened up that 87 guy who's pretty good whenever he gets open.
True. Very
And
true.
if they might have Pacheco back by then. Then they'll have to worry about Pacheco and Hunt. Um,
Well,
I know
the
you
other thing you got to look at though with them, when they get to that point, what are they still going to have to play for? And they're going to also be in a stretch where they're going to have 3 games in 10 days. Because they play Sunday, they play the 2 Sundays prior, they play Saturday, then they play Wednesday, which is Christmas Day. So they're in a similar boat as the Steelers. They're not playing the same kind of competition the Steelers are, but they're playing, a similar schedule. But if they're, let's just say, at that point, that's what, week 16 or week 7, game 16. Let's say they're 14-1 walking into that game. They're going to have the number 1 seed locked up. Third game in 10 days might be a case to sit number 87, might be a case to sit some of these guys, and knowing that this is going to be the most physical team they're going to play all season.
Well, also if the Bills don't lose any, and all of a sudden, they need that one win to get the 10-day break from Christmas Day to the following week, they might look at it that way too.
Well, I'm just looking at the schedule for the Chiefs right now. I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb on this one, okay? They've got Denver this week, and they've got Denver the last game of the season. They're gonna lose one of those two games. They're at Buffalo. That could be interesting. At Carolina, they should
That will be the
roll
game
that
that decides what
one.
happens.
Raiders at home, huh?
That will be the game that decides what happens to them on Christmas Day.
Maybe. But they got the Panthers at home. Then they got the Raiders at home Black Friday. Or no, that's Black Friday. Then they have the Chargers at home. And then that 10-day stretch, they play at Cleveland, Houston at home, and then at Pittsburgh. I think that they've got that. I think they've got the AFC wrapped up before, because if they beat Buffalo, they're going to have a 3-game lead in the conference. I don't see them giving up a 3-game lead in the conference. They'd have to lose 4 games. That's not going to happen.
And they would have the game in hand on Buffalo.
Right. And now Pittsburgh would be about the only other team that could do anything with them. But Pittsburgh would have to, in essence, win out until Christmas Day, which with that schedule, no. I can't see it. Would I like to see it? Absolutely. Would I love to see them go 13-4? You're damn right. It ain't realistic.
It would be something to see. I mean, obviously, I think the back half of our schedule is going to eventually catch up, like it always does. The Bengals are starting to play better ball. The Ravens are always tough, of course. The Browns, which Jameis Winston are we going to be playing against? The interception.
That's the two.
Gets on a couple lucky passes.
You're right, and that's the game that I'm concerned about, because the Steelers could very easily win both of those games. They could also very easily lose both of those games.
Right.
But if they win both of those games and then split with Cincinnati and split with Baltimore, there's your 4 right there. And then if they do win one of those other 3, that puts them at 5-4 on that stretch. Can they beat Washington this Sunday? Sure. And we'll get into more of that tomorrow during our show.
Yeah.
But, Washington is not a world beater. They're much, and I do mean much, better than what they've been the last few years. And it's them and Philly battling it out for the division. I don't think anybody's going to argue that point. If Philly can stay healthy.
You got Barkley jumping over people backwards.
Yeah, but they got to keep A.J. Brown healthy. If A.J. Brown's not going to be on the field, Devontae Smith, you and I have talked here, and we've talked about on our show, about guys that are really good 2s, that when you put them in the spot of being a 1, it doesn't work. Like Gabe Davis, like Keon Coleman in Buffalo, that kind of thing. Devontae Smith is that guy. Being the number 2 to A.J. Brown, he's fantastic. I mean, he's putting up tremendous numbers. When Brown is out and he's got to be the 1, he doesn't perform as well. And Goddard's been banged up. He had a couple of just tremendous weeks. I don't know if you played him in fantasy or not, but I know I did. And he went berserko a couple of weeks. But Goddard's been banged up. A.J. Brown got banged up again. If Philly doesn't keep those guys healthy, Washington's going to sneak up and steal that division. Do what?
Who were you playing?
Dallas Goedert.
Oh, the tight end. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, the tight end. Yeah, he had a game a few weeks ago where he went like 10 for 170 and 2 touchdowns.
He just came back.
But now he's banged up again. He's hurt again.
You want to talk about a tight end that had a good weekend finally, Mike Gesicki.
Yep. All
Finally,
over my DraftKings.
finally,
All over them.
I think he put up what 28 points in some leagues.
30 on DraftKings. It was
Yeah, he
30
was.
on DraftKings. Yeah, because
Well,
as soon as I saw T. Higgins was out, I loaded up on Gesicki, and Gesicki was only like 3,100. So I could have him, which meant I could play a better defense, and ended up playing Tennessee's defense on almost all of my DraftKings. And that little combo there did really well for me. But that really was budget friendly because I was playing a whole heck. I had a ton of Saquon Barkley in my DraftKings. Um, didn't go real expensive at receiver, didn't go overly expensive at quarterback either. But and man, how I realize he's not doing much in terms of fantasy, but how freaking hot is Jared Goff right now? He can't miss.
and that was the Lions' first game outside.
Yeah, and he proved that he could play in absolute trash weather and do
That was
great.
some ugly shit. Oh, the
And it
pick
got
six,
worse as it went on.
the pick six helped for sure by Detroit.
Well, it's true, but I mean, he threw some really nice balls. And
Same
his accuracy,
Brown
he's
had
like
some.
what, 80, 82, 83% in the last 6 games? It's ridiculous.
There were a lot of quarterbacks with high percentage this weekend. Wasn't Burrow 16 for 16 or something? And then he finally threw like 4 incomplete passes.
Yeah, Burrow had a great day. There was a few quarterbacks that had really good days this past week.
Apparently,
One of them that didn't though was a guy that wears 4 in Dallas.
well, he kind of got hurt too.
Yeah, well, and it was a rough day. Thank goodness CeeDee Lamb didn't get hurt worse than he did, because he landed hard on that shoulder on that one catch. But he banged up. Dak busted up his hand and then screwed up his hamstring, and he's going to miss 3, 4, 5 weeks. Um, so it's gonna be interesting to see just what's going to happen with that.
Right? Um, I guess Dylan is on his YouTube channel tonight. Instead of joining us live, he's asking us, Dylan, so why don't you just save that for tomorrow? Because I really haven't had time to process this question yet. Because we did.
Oh, that's
Dylan,
Dylan.
yeah, Dylan, if he stays healthy, Melissa, you asked this question too. If you're still listening, I know we were talking before the show started. Um,
Yeah,
but if Mike Williams stays healthy, it's a great trade for a 5th round pick.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
if he doesn't stay healthy, then we lost a 5th round pick.
Right. And I don't know about you, but I think this takes some of the throws to Austin away.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Or do you think it takes away the throws to Jefferson?
I would think Jefferson, unless somewhere down the line Jefferson and Wilson practice because they were both on the West Coast kind of thing. They had that connection. I don't know if during the off season if they practice together or not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like Williams' game. He can
Oh,
be a tremendous, and I mean a tremendous addition to this team. But again, it goes back to, is he going to stay healthy?
right. That's the question.
Although the other move that they made, yeah, the trade deadline, to me, teams help themselves more defensively than offensively. It's trade deadline.
And we can talk about Smith tomorrow.
Yeah, but no. I'm not just talking about Smith. I'm talking about, Baltimore gets Tre'Davious White, which really helps bolster that secondary. And then you turn around and you have the Commanders make a deal for Marshawn Lattimore from the Saints, which bolsters their defensive backfield. That's why I say it wasn't. I know we're going to talk about Steelers stuff tomorrow during our show, but the Steelers trade, these other two trades, there was a lot of defensive improvement done done today. And I almost forgot about Detroit getting Zadarius Smith from Cleveland.
Oh yeah, they got the linebacker or the defensive end, right?
Right. So that gives them someone to kind of fill Hutchinson's spot. I mean, he's not Hutchinson, but he can
No,
kind of fill Hutchinson's spot.
those shoes are going to be hard to fill, Rich.
Who, Hutchinson?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Maybe if they would have traded for Myles Garrett, maybe if they would
Or
have
TJ Watt or somebody like that. Yeah.
or Max Crosby, which
There
that's
you
who
go.
everyone in Detroit thought they were going to get.
Well, the Raiders said Crosby was going nowhere. Not pass and go, not collecting $200, was not going anywhere at the trade deadline.
Did you? I'm going off. I'm going off topic. But did you see the A's are just the A's now? They're not Oakland.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're playing in Sacramento for 3 years, and then they're moving to Vegas. So I'm sure that they're not, going to attach themselves to a city until they actually get to the city. So it's the whole situation with the A's is.
They're always going to be remembered for the Smash Bros, and they're always going to be remembered for Moneyball.
Well, but you also got to remember this is a team that has moved 4 times. 4 times in their existence. They started out as the Philadelphia A's. They were Philly, they've been Kansas City, they've been Oakland, now they're going to be Las Vegas. I realize it's over 100 years, but Pirates are 120 years old and they've never gone anywhere. The Cubs are 100 years old. The White Sox are 100 years old and ain't gone nowhere. I hate it for their fans. I hate it for the players because it's not the 80s or the 90s even, or in the early 90s where players stuck with the team for their whole career. But still, they got a bunch of young guys that could be the foundation of a team and really have that link with their community and everything. And there's no place for them to connect to until they get to Vegas, which from what they're saying is going to be 26 at minimum. So, they're going to be nomads for 2 or 3 seasons. The other situation you're running into with Major League Baseball is what's Tampa going to do? They've already said Tropicana ain't going to be ready, and the new stadium ain't going to be ready till 2028. So granted, there's oodles of spring training facilities there, but there is not one spring training facility that even holds half of what Tropicana Field holds. So Major League Baseball's got that to deal with too.
And the more it rains down there, the worse it's going to get. So there's no sewage or stuff on the field or in the stands.
Right. And, I listened to somebody and I wish I could remember.
Why was I saying sewage? Drains. I'm sorry. Oh my
the drains. I knew where you were going. But I was listening to somebody and I can't remember who it was. But remember with Katrina and the Saints had to play in, what was it, Oklahoma City that one year? They had to play all their home games there instead of in New Orleans because the Superdome was wrecked.
Game, didn't they? Once Baton Rouge was unflooded, didn't they play a game in LSU?
They did, but they moved to San Antonio. That's where they did their home games.
And that was inside the Alamo
Dome. Inside the Alamo Dome, right. Could they could the Rays play the 2025 season in Charlotte,
Charlotte, the Charlotte Bats,
Nashville?
Charlotte. I mean, would they still be the Rays?
Yeah, they would still be I mean, they didn't change the name from
Kinda,
the San Antonio.
kinda.
They make them the
You
San Antonio Saints.
remember when
Um,
the you remember when the during COVID the Blue Jays had to play in what was that, Bison
in
Park
Florida,
in Rochester,
right?
where
Oh
the
yeah, in
Twins were
Buffalo. Yeah, in Buffalo. You're right.
Buffalo Park. Not they didn't.
Yeah,
Where did they play in Rochester, where the Twins minor league is?
I think they did. I think they did both. I think they played in both places. But it would also be a good testing ground because Major League Baseball is talking about expanding, and Charlotte and Nashville both are on the list of places they're talking about expanding to. But that way, they would at least have a home for the season. They would know that's where they're going to play. And that's about the closest places I can think of to Tampa. I mean, that could even conceivably have a facility that would.
Plus, if they went to Charlotte, since it is the one of the three teams for expansion, this will be a good case to see if they would want to bring in more, if they would want to do it there, because to see if the people wanted Major League Baseball.
Right, and Nashville will be the same way because I know Nashville's on the list too. Um,
That
um,
minor league team has been a home to everyone. The Nashville Sound have been I think 18 teams have gone through there, including the Pirates, including the Yankees, but just to name a few. Now their scoreboard is pretty cool. It's in the shape of a guitar.
guitar, yeah,
Yeah, and that's pretty cool
and they
little.
draw. They draw.
And now with all these new bars opening up and everything, I'm sure Nashville is going to want something to besides country music to go along with this. I mean, they have the Predators, obviously. They have the Nashville. They have the Titans,
Yeah, they have Tennessee.
and they put a baseball team in there. I don't know, but that would be more for their summer nights. But then would that draw away from the music? You know what I mean?
No, no, because that's like Texas Live here in Arlington. I mean, put that in with a bunch of other stuff, and I mean you've got the music, and now you can make a full event out of the deal and all that stuff. It's not going to be an issue. No, I promise you, there is no way it will. We would have an issue with that. But do you know the biggest cities to not have a major league sports team, meaning baseball, football, basketball, hockey? Do you know the top three that do not have any of those four sports?
Do I live in one?
Okay, refresh me where you're at.
West Virginia.
Oh,
All we have is the Mountaineers in the power.
Morgantown's not big. No, it's not
I
that
know.
big. Dude.
I know. I was just saying we don't have any major league team.
Yeah, you do. You got Pittsburgh.
I know that, Rich, but you were talking state. You were talking state.
Well, no. I'm talking cities. No, I'm talking cities.
I
Do
mean,
you know the
obviously,
top three? The top three cities in population that do not have a major league sports team. You'd be surprised.
what about Rhode Island? Since the Islanders moved off the island and went to the Barclays Center.
Well, no, they were on Long Island.
Right, but they were considered Rhode Island.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah.
Number one on the list you'll never get. Austin, Texas. The biggest city in the United States without a major league professional team is
Georgia,
Austin, Texas. Huh?
Georgia, Georgia.
Cities, man, cities.
Oh no, I was referring to something else.
Yeah. Number 2 on that list is Charlotte, North Carolina.
What do you
And
mean? They
number
have
3
NASCAR. Wait,
uh,
wait. Charlotte has NASCAR.
well that I know I said the 4 well, and they do have the Hornets. I just you forget about the Hornets because they're the
And
Hornets.
isn't their football team in Charlotte?
Again,
Yeah.
I refer to the previous statement. Um,
Right, right. They have the All Star. Well, they used to only
y-
have the All
y-
Star for the Charlotte um, racetrack. Well, what is that? The Lowe's. What is that? Lowe's, right? What is that? Is that Lowe's?
the Lowe's All Star race. Yeah, no, they had a regular race and then they had the All Star race. They've always run 2 races at Charlotte. But no, I'm talking about baseball, football, basketball, hockey. Just those 4 sports. Number 2 on that
Right,
list is actually Oklahoma City.
man.
And I know they've got the Thunder, okay? I know
Right.
they've got the Thunder. It's not, and I know that's why I was this list that they sent me because I sent it to a friend of mine. I said, okay, send me this list, and it's off. Austin is no questions asked number 1. Okay, number 2 is also in Texas, and this I do know.
Waco.
Would you believe it's El Paso, Texas? And you know what number 3 is?
Was it still in Texas?
No.
All right. So we got Austin. We got El Paso.
Yep.
Yeah.
This
Got to be
one's a
New
little
Mexico,
further
right?
north.
Got to be New Mexico, like Albuquerque.
Albuquerque is close. It's 4th. Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, they got the Bats. They got the minor league team.
Major League.
No, they got the minor. I'm just saying what's there.
Right,
Obviously,
but I'm
obviously
saying
Churchill. Obviously, Churchill is there, and the Louisville Slugger store is there, which is really cool. You ever been there?
I have. It is
I
really
like.
neat.
I like
I've
how the
watched
bats
them
stuff.
make a bat before. Yeah, I've watched them make a bat before from a stalk of wood. And it's pretty cool. It is cool. But those are the 4 biggest cities in the United States that does not have a major league sports team. Austin, El Paso, Louisville, Albuquerque. And I don't know that Austin will get one just simply because you already have 3 teams in the state making a triangle.
I have to kill this bug.
Mhm.
I have to kill this bug. I don't know what the hell it is. But
El Paso,
my dog is trying to climb the wall right now to get this bug.
yeah.
Not that you
El
care, but I just
Paso,
tell you like why I keep looking up.
I was kind of curious about that, but El Paso's big thing is it's so far away. It's closer to Albuquerque than it is Dallas. El Paso is only like 4 hours from Albuquerque, and it's I think 8 from Dallas, 8 or 10 from Dallas. So you got El Paso, and then Louisville, like you said, Louisville. You've got Churchill Downs, you've got the Louisville Slugger facilities and that there. You've of course you've got really good college sports there.
Have you ever
Uh,
been to Churchill?
hmm?
Have you ever been to Churchill?
I haven't. I would
I
love.
rode
That's on
by
my
it.
bucket list.
I rode by it. I never went. And
We
I'm
drove
kinda
by
glad.
it. Yeah,
I'm
we
kinda
drove by
glad
it one
because
time, but man,
I was in my heavy party days, and they said you would have had a blast in the infield. I kinda, like, wanted to go then. I was like, "Well, let's go."
it's on my bucket list.
You rode
Yeah,
by it, so you could take
yeah,
but I
I've
would
got like
only wanna
5 or
go on
6.
I would only wanna go on the day of the race, though. I don't know if I'd like, I'm not a big like, I would wanna go for the entertainment value to see who you might see, who you might greet, who you might who you might have interactions with. I don't know if
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big horse race better.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you're going to go to Churchill, you don't go during the normal schedule. You go for the Kentucky Derby. It's just like Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You don't go during all the other stuff they got going on. You go for the Indy 500 or the Brickyard 400. And that, by the way, is also on my bucket list. I've been at the track. I've never been there during the Indy 500. I want
I've been
that's
to Pure
that's
Michigan.
another bucket list thing. Hmm?
I've been to Pure Michigan.
I've seen Michigan Speedway. Never seen a race there.
Like I said, I was mighty intoxicated and fell over and missed the Carl Edwards backflip and knocked a couple people over, and they were not happy with me. I
Oh
couldn't see.
wow.
There was like a guy like you standing in front of me. So I stood up on the bench, and it was like a little bit rainy out, and I slipped on the damn bench because they're all metal, and I fell
Right.
over, and I missed it too. I wasn't happy. Now that was
No.
a fun race. Long drive. We didn't stay overnight. We drove up and drove back. I wasn't driving, so I was enjoying myself.
Yeah, I've had the luxury to be at a bunch of the NASCAR tracks. I've only seen races on a few of them.
I
I've
rode by
been to
the one in Dallas.
Vegas, never
I
saw the
rode by,
race at Vegas.
I rode by the one in Dallas.
Oh,
Did
I've been
you?
to Texas Motor Speedway
Right.
75 times.
Well, I mean, that was my first time ever in Dallas, so obviously I was excited. And we
That
drove by it
yeah.
because we were going to look at the Jerry Dome,
Uh-huh.
which I highly recommend, Rich, whenever you're back on your feet, to go walk around that place.
Dude, I've done football games from there. I've
I played
broadcast
catch.
from there.
I played catch on the field. Does that count?
Sure.
That was the
There
cool thing. That was the cool. Like we got to go into the Jerry nest. That was cool. His suite's really nice. And then
Oh, it's great.
we got to go in all the locker rooms, cheerleaders, and everything else. But then they're like, "Hey, there's footballs. If you guys want to go play catch." And then they were like, "You see your way out over there, and it takes you back into the front of the building." And we're like, "So yeah, you could go. You could have went and played catch. You could have went and played like a game if you could have found people." Um, I had my terrible towel with me. I put it in the end zone and took a picture.
Nice.
I
No,
did that in
I have
Seattle. I did that in Seattle
there
too. That was
is there is video. Um the the intro the intro video for the Texas State High School Football Championships, which are all done in Jerry World. The open to the television broadcasts, they have a bunch of snippets from different things throughout the course of history, right? One of them is Midway High School out of Waco, the captains and that walking out to midfield for the coin flip. I am the guy on the far left with the radio crap on because I was doing sidelines for that game. And I had my headphones and my microphone and all that kind of stuff in my hand while and I'm in that recording. Um, I've been fortunate enough to broadcast from there in Brad Sham's booth, who was the voice of the Cowboys for like 35 years. The first time we went in there, they gave us the tour and that, and Jerry's grandkids were in the suite, and they were playing Madden on the big screen. Jason Witten was like 12 feet tall. We're playing Madden, you know. And we kind of glanced over like, holy crap. But no, Jerry World is cool. I've had the distinct pleasure of broadcasting from there numerous times, whether it was as a play-by-play guy, as a sideline guy, whatever. Been there as a fan, been there, everything short of playing on the field. Uh, I've done that, but we Texas Motor Speedway is super cool. The stuff if you get a chance to go to a race there, man, I strongly suggest it. Um, I've been to Las Vegas, never saw a race there. I've been to Indy, didn't see a race there. I've been to Pocono and saw a race at Pocono. Not a fan of Pocono. Whenever I worked in Maryland, I went to Dover for races, covered races there. Dover is very cool, especially a big ass monster right at the front of it because they call it the Monster Mile. Dover is super cool.
Dover. That's
Um,
the night track, right? Dover. That's
Say
a
again.
Saturday. No, Richmond's the Saturday night race, right?
Right, right. Richmond's another one I've seen. I've been to Richmond, but I've never been to Richmond during a race. Um, so it's pretty cool. Had a chance to see a lot of the places, which is neat. Just haven't seen races at all of them, so it's kind of cool. But yeah, I still have my bucket list of about 8 or 10 places that I want to go to before it's all said and done. And India's on there. So is Churchill Downs
Um,
and Fenway Park.
I've been to Fenway. I've been there. I got to see the Pirates play. Miserable. No, that was the one game we won. That was the one game we won on that 6 game span. We went. We did the second. We did the last game in New York. Watched Randy Johnson pitch a masterpiece. We lost 6-1. We should have packed up and left and went to Boston right after that because we didn't realize like what we were getting into because we were staying like I guess more on the New Jersey side. I don't know why. Like we were trying to no, we were staying north because we wanted to stay out of like the city. And we were like, why didn't we go to Boston? We would have had so much more fun.
You know,
The Boston was fun regardless. I had a blast.
I've heard Boston is great. I've never been there. Again, like you just said, Yankee Stadium. I've never been to Yankee Stadium. That's on the bucket list.
I've been to
The
I've been
Baseball
to
Hall
eight.
of Fame,
I've been
huh?
to 18. I've been to 18 stadiums.
Wow,
Baseball.
wow. Let's see. I've been to Nationals Park, Camden Yards,
And I was right next to it.
Citizens.
I did go to Camden Yards. Yeah. I went to
Ci-
Nationals, Camden Yards,
I've been to Citizens Bank. I've been to PNC.
Citizens Bank.
Rip
Citizen Bank. That's
Philly,
the one in that's Cincinnati.
Philly. No, Citizens Bank's Philly.
Go to Philly. I rode by it, but I didn't go in it.
Um, Wrigley and Comiskey, but it's not.
I
It's
heard it was
what
free.
U.S. Cellular or some crazy thing like that now.
I didn't go to Southside.
Been to those two. Um, been to Bush in St. Louis.
I rode by
Of
both.
course, Globe Life and Minute Maid. So I've been to what is that 9? Oh, and I've been to Cincinnati, so 10. I've been to 10. So you definitely got me on that one, man.
I've been to Seattle. I've been to both. I've been to 3 Atlanta stadiums, whatever the hell they've gone through since like 2000. I got to see Kyle Ripken play in Atlanta right after the All Star break. I bought
That's cool.
tickets. Me and my buddy were like, let's do a road trip, and we were gonna go see his grandma in Tampa. And I was like, look, we got a festival to go to in Atlanta, and we can go to the baseball game, and then we'll go to the festival. And he's like, what's the festival? I was like, Area One. We got to see Outkast play in Atlanta. That was pretty badass. And then we got to see Paul Oakenfold spin. We got to see Carl Cox spin down there. This is like a. It was like a hip hop mixed with trance dance type of thing.
Mhm.
Nelly Furtado was there. I got to hug Nelly Furtado. That like made my whole weekend. I was ready to go home right after I hugged her. This is the first day of vacation. I'm ready to go home. Like I'm done. I'm done. It's time to go home. Uh, dude, she. Oh my gosh, I felt like a bird that day. I wanted to fly away.
I
Well,
see what you did there.
yeah. But then, so I bought the tickets for the baseball game, and the very next day, Cal Ripken announced he was retiring at the end of the year.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, "Cool, dude. We have this whole row to ourselves. We're just gonna chill out." And all of a sudden, it was sold out.
Mm.
I was like, man, it was cool though. I mean, I was like, let's get there early. We'll try and I had some Cal Ripken stuff I was trying to get signed. Obviously, you got to try once you only get to see the goat once.
Sure,
But
sure.
I didn't get anything signed. But you know what? I got to see him play, and that was cool to me. That was awesome. And
We
Atlanta
were
gave to see his. I want to see his farewell tour. Just gifts.
yeah, yeah. Well, my
Crazy.
wife and I went for my birthday. My birthday's in August, and we went to Globe Life to see the Yankees. My mom and dad had gotten me tickets for my birthday, and it just so happened that was Derek Jeter's last game in Arlington. So I've got some pictures and that kind of stuff from him batting and that kind of deal. His last game in Arlington, but
Nice. I've never been. I obviously, at Jerry World, you look out the window and you get to see old Arlington Globe Field. Was it Globe Field, the open one?
Globe Life Park,
Globe
Globe
Park.
Life Park.
I looking out the window from Jerry World. I got to see Globe Park. Does that count? Does that count or no?
Well, I mean, it's like whenever I saw places, I just didn't get a chance to go to anything in them. The Temple, which is Globe Life Park. It, okay, can I hop on a soapbox here for a second?
Yeah,
The
go ahead.
only reason they built Globe Life Field is because too many people were afraid to get hot in the summer playing baseball. You're making millions of dollars a year. Suck it up and play the freaking game the way it's supposed to be played. Which is outdoors on grass. But I'm get off my lawn guy when it comes to some of that stuff. But hey, it's
I don't. I don't know.
Globe
That
Life
about a
Park
stadium.
is a gorgeous stadium, man. It is right there with PNC, no questions asked. Globe Life Field, if you've watched it on TV, and if you watch the World Series 2 year, in 23 and that kind of stuff, and you saw that it looked like a dungeon, I got news for you. It looks like a dungeon. Um, when we did games at AT&T Stadium, we would go over and have lunch over at Pudge Rodriguez's pizza place inside of Texas Live, which is connected to Globe Life. It's a dark facility. I mean, there's no light coming in unless they open the roof, which they only do maybe 5 times a season. If it's over 80, they don't open the roof. It's like, come the heck on. You know, it, but no, Globe Life Park is absolutely fabulous, spectacular. I can't think of enough adjectives for that joint. Um, Minute Maid Park is really deceptive in Houston. It's really deceptive because from the outside, you'll drive right past it. If you don't know where you're going, it looks like a big warehouse. And you just drive right past it. But you get inside, and especially when they open it up, because they open it up quite a bit. They open that sucker up, man, and it is nice. Um, they did a really good job with the whole place. So you know, two sides of the same coin, I guess. But yeah, it's you did miss out not getting to see Globe Life Park. If you get a chance to do it again, I strongly suggest you do.
I don't know when I'll be back in Texas. It's not like I go there every day. But speaking of Texas, I did get to see Enron or Minute Maid, whatever it was called then.
Yeah, depending on when you were there, it was either Enron or Minute Maid.
Would have been cool. Would have been cool if they were like would
But
have let you into the Astrodome. I would have done that tour just to go in.
they did until they imploded it. They still did some events in the Astrodome, and that they did some concerts and some different stuff like that. They did a car show in there and that kind of stuff. I mean, they still
They
did
started
some
that.
events in it. They
They
just
started
didn't use
building
it
that in
near as
what
much as they used to.
'62. It took them 4 years to build that
Mm-hmm.
because it was the first roof. It was the first indoor stadium.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember it in that at that time frame, you didn't have near the technology or um the super, you know, design and all that kind of stuff. You know, if you really sit and look at the Astrodome, it's really kind of plain. But you didn't have all these computer generated designs and all these, you know, things that look like SoFi Stadium and all that kind of garbage. Uh, you know, it was just a stadium. Um, but it served its purpose, you know, and it was a huge attraction. I was lucky enough to be inside of it once, which okay. You know, at that point in time, they weren't using it for baseball anymore. They were still, you know, that was when they were using Minute Maid. Um, so, you know, being inside of it was cool. It'd have been better to be inside of it for a baseball game.
I did get to see Three Rivers. I did get to see football and baseball there.
First baseball game I ever went to was at Three Rivers.
That's right. That's right. That stadium was here whenever you were here.
Oh yeah, 1978.
You know
No, I'm sorry,
that was
1979.
that stadium, like they weren't gonna they were gonna leave that open just like they did at the original Bush.
Hmm.
They made
Yeah,
every stadium the same. I've been to the Spectrum. I've been
yeah.
to
There was a stretch they were doing these things called cookie cutter stadiums, and you had Pittsburgh, Philly, Cincinnati, Kansas City. Um, there was one other one, but there were five baseball stadiums that were all literally cookie cutters of each other.
um,
Um,
Paul Brown Stadium, Riverfront,
yeah,
um,
that was the other
the
one.
the vet.
Yeah,
Then then we had obviously Bush
right,
was all round until they tore out the back.
right.
Um,
And then Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Old Royal Stadium was like that. And then Three Rivers.
Try to think. Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah. Yep. Same architect did all of them.
Oh. Um, what about football stadiums, Rich? Have you ever been?
Football, Three Rivers and Hines. Um, the Vet.
Well, you got to go to.
Um, M&T Bank.
I've been there.
RFK.
I rode by him and
I,
rode by RFK too. I didn't go to either one.
and and all except for the ones in Pittsburgh, I went as broadcaster. Um, AT&T Stadium. Well, Texas Stadium I played on in high school. They did playoff games there, so I played on Texas Stadium.
That was the old dome, huh?
Uh, huh?
That was the old dome.
Well, the one with the
Texas
hole
State.
cut in it. Yeah, that was basically like playing in the street with the AstroTurf carpet on it. That was some terrible, terrible stuff.
I think
Um,
that's why I give Emmett Smith a lot more credit than we should because he ran on that shit at least eight games a year, 8 games a year.
well, any of the guys that were on those AstroTurf fields, whether it was Dallas, Philly, any of those places that had AstroTurf at that point in time, Houston, it was all rough like that. But I've been to NRG in Houston. Um, been to been to Soldier, not for a game, but I've been to Soldier. Um, been to Arrowhead, not for a game, but been to Arrowhead. Um, was at Riverfront. Didn't go to Great the whatever the heck the new one's called, but I did go to Riverfront. Um, I think that's it. I think that's it.
Uh, I've been to Cleveland. I've been to Seattle. Been to the RCA Dome. Been to the old Atlanta Stadium. I don't forget what that one was called though.
Well, I did forget. I've been to the Hoosier Dome. Good.
Um, so, but yeah. So Rich, I guess we went down memory lane today on open mic.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Covered the trade deadline a little bit.
A little bit. We talked more about our own adventures than we did open mic.
Yeah, we did. Hey, it's like
But
I
you know,
always say, you
open
never
mic is
know. You never know where we're going
that's
to
why
end
we
up,
call it.
man. You really don't.
That's why we call it open mic. Open mic. You find us on Driving to the Top Productions on YouTube. Be cool. I know Melissa left comments. Dylan left comments. Dylan's obviously um, probably sitting at the pool still. Don't know what he's really doing. We'll find out next week how it went. Um, said he was nervous. You know, I would be nervous counting ballots too. You know, it's a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't care. I don't care who you are. A lot of pressure. But
Well,
you can
but
find me on the X right now at Sports Talking It. You can get me at Driving to the Top Productions too on there. Um, obviously, Rich, good show, good stuff. To our
yep.
viewers out there listening right now, you know, absolutely leave comments. Don't be afraid. Obviously, when it's just me and Rich, don't be afraid to say, "Hey, I want to come on. I got some sports. I'll send you the invite. I don't care." Me or Rich can. We'll send invites. We're good. Rich, I
Yeah,
guess we could have talked a little bit about Crown Jewel, huh? Sure, you watched it.
I did. I did.
What you think?
Not overly impressed, but
Did you like the new Crown Jewel belts?
no. I mean, anybody that remembers the old Mid South North American title, as big as it was, this thing is even bigger than that. And I'm glad that they're leaving it in the WWE experience out there in Riyadh because I mean, as big, think about it, as big as that Universal title is that Cody carries around, and then if he had to carry that other thing around, not to mention the fact that that belt might weigh as much as Liv Morgan does. I mean, that's God's honest truth. That thing might weigh as much as Liv Morgan does. If she weighs 100 pounds, dripping wet with a brick in her pocket, I'll be stunned. And that belt is just a monster. Yeah, I'm not impressed. The rings, okay. I get it was something they put together for the people of Saudi Arabia because they were paying them 50 million bucks to come out and do this event. And some of the matches were okay, but
What did you
I
think of Kevin Owens and Randy Orton? Did it
say
live up
again.
to the hype? I only read about it. I obviously didn't watch it. I was at work. But the Kevin
No,
Owens Randy Orton fight, how'd that go?
it technically never got started. They started fighting and it never got things going. Adam Pierce gets RKO'd and the referee gets stunnered and all this other stuff. Yeah, spoilers if you haven't seen it's been 5 days. If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry. Um, but
I did read about that.
yeah, and they showed a bunch of this stuff on Raw last night too. But I just it didn't do it felt well, first off, it felt rushed. You kind of knew something like this was coming between Orton and Owens, but it really felt rushed. And they've got to, if they're going to keep this thing rolling, they got to come up with something um different. A See, the bad part of it is neither one of those guys are like they're not like from Texas where you could do a bull rope match or something to that effect, you know. So you can't. I mean, the dog collar match ain't gonna work. A cage match could work once they go to Netflix. Now, I'm sure some people are going, well, why would they have to wait till they go to Netflix? You're not seeing any blood on WWE unless it's just a accidental thing or very minimal. Kind of like what you saw from Bronson Reed after those curb stomps. To do a cage match right, one of them two guys got to bleed, if not both. Kind of like Hell in a Cell with McIntyre and Punk. That could be a really good rivalry if they developed it right. They just haven't given it the time. They just have not given it the time. And I don't know that they're going to. Of course, there's rumors that Owens hasn't re-upped his contract. That's purely 100%, purely 100% rumor. But, if he is leaving, then, but how do you do I don't know if you remember back in the territory day, you would have loser leave town, where they could just say, okay, I've had enough of you. You've had enough of me. This place is only big enough for one of us. And loser leaves. Loser has to leave WWE.
Yeah, they
Okay.
said someone was going to AEW.
Hmm?
They said there was someone going to AEW.
Well, if Owens went to AEW, at the minute he walks into that promotion, he's probably the third or fourth best guy in the company. No question about it. They've got so much. I got to be careful when I say this. I don't want to offend the AEW fan. And I'm an AEW fan. I don't like the way Tony does things. There's a whole bunch of guys that shouldn't be there, old and young, that just shouldn't be there. He's got like 150 people on the payroll, which is about 100 too many. His women's roster, he brought in Sasha Banks, Mercedes Monet. She's done absolutely nothing. Her bodyguard has done more than she's done since she came in. Camille could be an absolute just ass kicker. She's got the build, she's got the height. She could be. I don't know if you remember Baby Doll.
Little.
She was with Dusty Rhodes. She was with Tully Blanchard first, and then she was with Dusty Rhodes. Uh, she started out in World Class though as Gino Hernandez's bodyguard, but she was the same size and that kind of deal as Camille. She looks like she could kick your ass, plain and simple. She could be a non-goth Rhea Ripley. And I mean, Rhea Ripley's the best in the business. Uh, um, but there's a lot of guys. They could trim that roster so much. I mean, so much. Send them to Ring of Honor. Send them to developmental. Send them somewhere. Use ROH as a developmental. Use Rampage as a developmental show or whatever. But there's a lot. There's a lot that AEW leaves to be desired, and I'm afraid. Here's what's going to happen tomorrow night. I can tell you this right now, because of the election and everything. NXT is not on tonight. NXT is running tomorrow night, and people are like, "Oh, well, it's on a different night, so it's really going to hurt the ratings." I'm telling everyone that's listening right now, it is November 5th at 9:35 Central Time. NXT is going to kick the dog out of AEW in the ratings tomorrow night for a couple of reasons. The biggest of which is just a better show. But it's coming from the ECW arena. You got Bubba Ray Dudley in the main event. Yeah, I mean it's so. But anyway.
What are they doing with Stratton? Are they gonna ever let her cash in?
Yeah. I've got a couple of ideas on that. And it all depends on how they work it for Survivor Series. I don't know if they can put a 5-woman team together with Nia and Tiffany. Because the only logical combination would be to put them with Liv and Raquel, but they were just beating each other's brains in Saudi Arabia. So I don't know that it makes sense. Flip side, I think what happens is at the Rumble, Tiffany ends up cashing because whoever Nia wrestles ends up taking, whether it's, gosh, I don't know who it would be, but maybe Bailey, something like that, just beats the stuffing out of her. Nia still wins, and then Tiffy comes in and does what everybody has thought she should have done about 10 times and smack her right in the head with that briefcase, drop her like a hot rock, and pin her. The only problem is then you're going into WrestleMania with Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to.
That's not a WrestleMania match. Tiffany Stratton is way, I mean, stratospherically more athletic than Nia Jax. They can run circles around her. So I mean, I think that's how Tiffany gets the title. Then it kind of depends what happens with the Rumble. Because if they did, here's my mindset on this thing. Okay, they open the card with that women's title match. Tiffany cashes in, takes the title from Nia. Okay, Tiffany's the champ. Nia comes in as a surprise entry in the Rumble and wins the Rumble. Well, you know as well as I do what she's going to do. She's going to go after Tiffany. The ace in the hole in all this is Charlotte Flair. Because she's due to be back for Royal Rumble. Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair could tear the house down. It could. How it would work out, I'd have to lay all that out. She'd have to win the Rumble. Or have Nia decide for some reason she was going after Liv Morgan instead of Tiffy, even though Tiffy decided to cash on her.
Yeah, might Tiffany go after the other belt?
Say again?
Might Tiffany go after the other belt?
Not well. She would have cashed. I don't think she would cash in on Liv. I think you're going to have with Liv is you're going to end up seeing Bianca cash in on or Bianca take the title from Liv, which causes the split between her and Jade. And then you'll see Bianca and Jade at WrestleMania. As much as I hate to say it, I think your two women's championship matches at Mania are going to be Bianca Jade and Nia Tiffany.
Think we get any surprises from like maybe a Jordan Jace?
Jordan Grace could stick her nose in there.
Because I mean, they kind of like made her lose their title the other day.
Yeah, and I mean she's going to be in the Rumble.
I thought she was coming up like right then and there, or like that
Well,
was.
I think she's up to NXT. I don't know that they're going to bring her to the main roster. That's my question. Because it's kind of getting muddled on the main roster with women. If you've noticed that, because you got, on Raw, you've got, as I just draw a complete blank, you got Liv, you got Raquel, you've got Rhea, who's out for a while with a broken orbital bone. You've got, supposedly she comes back, Becky. And then you got like Chelsea Green, Katana Chance, and all these other people that don't make a difference. They've definitely watered down the women's division. SmackDown, you got Bailey and Io Sky and Kairi Sane and there are some women there that are quality. They've just got about 8 or 10 of them that need to go to NXT. Plain and simple. Especially, if you're going to bring a Jordan and if you're going to bring a Charlotte Flair, you got to cut some of this fat off. Because there's like 6, 8, 10 girls that have no business being there.
There's a lot of good stuff at the top though that keeps it interesting.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out now till WrestleMania, particularly now till Rumble. Because I know Punk and McIntyre both taking time off to recover from the whole Hell in a Cell deal and injuries that they've had. Seth Rollins is just coming from injury. You got the whole bloodline thing, which I'm sure is what Survivor Series is going to be built around. Then you got to figure out who Cody's going to fight at WrestleMania.
I was wondering when we were going to get there. I don't know. Like it's a toss up. It really is.
Yeah.
Cody's kind of creating like his friends to be his enemies because he wants to fight them. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Another thing is, when does the OTC get his shot? Is he going to take it from Mania? They can't let this bloodline go on forever. They can't.
I think Mania is Rock Roman. I think Cody fights Randy Orton at WrestleMania.
You think they let him take 15?
Very possible, yeah. And then Gunther and
they make that a triple threat match for Cena's final match.
That's a distinct possibility too. The only problem is see, there's the right way to do it, and there's the way that they do it now. The right way to do it going out is what Bryan Danielson did. Bryan Danielson put over a guy in order to when he moved on. I don't know that Cena's going to eat a pin from either one of those guys. I also don't think Cena's going to be the odd man out in a three-way in his last match. Cena Orton would be a great last match for Cena. Especially with who is on the roster. I mean, really, the only other person on the roster I could even think of is Rollins.
There's no real feud with Rollins, though. He never had a real feud with Rollins.
He did with the Shield.
And all three of them. And that was more whenever the Shield was kind of owned by the Authority.
Right. And I'm just trying to think, when you sit there and look at it, Cena Punk. What would that accomplish?
Styles was always a good one too.
What's that?
Cena and AJ Styles was always a good one too.
Cena and AJ would be fantastic. AJ's my guy. I mean, the last 15 years, AJ's been my guy. The big question is going to be, could that be AJ's last match? That would be a really good last match for Cena. A lot of people forget AJ was Undertaker's last match. And Taker handpicked.
That was that COVID outside match.
Right, but Taker handpicked AJ for that match. Could it be AJ? Yeah. I'm just trying to think outside of that. I mean, there's not. I don't know that Cena's going to put somebody over on the way out. I wouldn't put him in there with Lesnar. If you're bringing Lesnar back to get into the OTC, to enter the bloodline, basically a thing of, what they did to Heyman, and man.
Yeah, this whole bloodline thing's weird. It's turning weird. I don't know what. I think they've kind of lost the role of it a little bit.
Well, they have. It's starting to get NWO-ish. I call this new bloodline, the bloodline red and black. Because they're like the NWO red and black.
That would be the Wolfpack.
Right.
Right. Where the red and black was the Wolfpack, right?
Correct.
And that was Sting, Luger, Nash,
Hall, Bagwell, Norton, guys like that.
Some other guy I don't remember.
Yeah. But I'm having a tough time trying to figure out who would. I don't know that Cena would eat a pin. That's my big thing. Does that make any sense?
If what?
I don't know that Cena would eat a pin on his last match.
Maybe an AA?
No. I just mean eating a pin.
He's got to go out. They got to let him go out as a winner, right?
Not necessarily. Bryan Danielson didn't go out as a winner.
They would never let Bryan Danielson go out as a winner, leaving and going to another company. They would never let him do that.
Danielson's not going to another company. He lost his last match at AEW. He's done. He retired.
I was thinking of whenever he was at WWE.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is he put over. He put over his opponent. I don't know that Cena would do that. And if so, who would take it from? It's an interesting thought. But it's WWE is going to be interesting between now and WrestleMania. I think we're going to have some interesting stuff with AEW coming up soon. Especially with the Hurt Business. So if Kevin Owens leaves and goes to AEW, that could be interesting too. We'll see.
Kevin Owens unleashed.
Yeah.
He's dangerous. He's dangerous when he gets pissed.
Yeah, and he is definitely a 2024 version of a guy like a Dick Murdoch.
Do they plan that wild card, or does he do that on his own? Sometimes it looks like sometimes it looks like he really just loses.
Well, he's very good at what he does. As a man, from everything that I've read, heard, all that kind of stuff, as a man, he's a really good guy. Super good dad, super good husband. Not temperamental. That is Kevin Owens. Kevin Steen, on the other hand, different guy. I guess there's a couple of people that there's a lot of question out there because I'm hearing more and more that TKO is putting the kibosh on some people getting paid. I know that in fact, Becky Lynch was supposedly in talks to get her renewal done, and TKO shot down the $2 million a year deal.
Why? Becky Lynch was one of their main assets.
Right, but they don't want to be spending. When they're paying, I think I saw that Roman's getting like 12 to 15. Cody's getting like 10 or 12. That kind of thing, and they're tightening up their purse strings a little bit, and I think you're going to see some more people go. They made 3 cuts the other day of people that they're just not using. Baron Corbin, Indy Hartwell, and I'll remember the third one in a minute. But it's people that they haven't really been using. So will we see any of them in AEW? Possible. I could see what I could honestly see is Baron Corbin teaming up with Dustin Rhodes.
But all right. Yeah, I don't know much more about it, Rich. You watch wrestling, so I figured you would want to get that off your chest for a little bit. I read up on things. I don't watch the matches, obviously, unless I see them on YouTube or whatever. I try to I don't have cable, so it's hard for me to watch this stuff.
Gotcha. No, maybe we can. Well, they do put SmackDown on CW now.
I don't know if I.
Or no, I'm sorry. Not SmackDown. NXT is on CW.
But anyway, Rich, I think we had a really good show. Just me and you. Tomorrow night we just talked Pittsburgh. We might be starting late tomorrow. Just to let everyone know, I do have some errands I need to take care of after work. I do have to stop somewhere after I go do my first errand. So, we might be a little bit later than normal, Rich.
Okay.
Like I said, I got to go all the way downtown Pittsburgh. So. But I need to do what I got to do tomorrow. Get it all done.
I understand.
So, Rich, how people get a hold of you, buddy?
Yeah, man, on Twitter or X or whatever the flavor of the month is. It's Go Big, Go Home Pod, or on Facebook, it's just my name, Rich Richardson. And love to get into the back and forth, the conversations, and debates are always fun too.
Right. Like I said earlier, before we went into wrestling, at Sports Talking It on the X, Driving to the Top Productions on YouTube. Obviously, you can find us there. I would like, comment, get on here, leave your comments so we can talk back with you. Like I said, you want to come on the show, DM me, let me know. DM Rich even. He knows how to do it now. So
Yeah.
we're good to go there. And everybody have a good night.